for those who don't know, I'm in Brookhaven and here we have a lot of cars, but in Brookhaven there aren't many cars with textures. So today I'm going to test several ways to add textures to the cars, ways to modify the Roblox car, and also ways to add textures. So for that, I'm coming here to my house. But for those who don't know, I live in a really weird neighborhood, because in this neighborhood, I can only move up to a better house if I have a really good car. And my friend has a really weird car, and it's the worst car of all, and because of that, he's in this house. But this car is actually interesting, and it's in this house. So I want to improve my car to finally move up to a better house. But it looks like my friend is here, and he waved. But guys, he's going to have to help me modify my car, because this is going to be really important. And he said, let's go, but your car is really ugly. Look, I know that, but I want to test ways to add textures, and I'm sure it's going to look really cool. But my friend is staring at this, and he said, it's impossible to add textures. Look, it's actually possible. But guys, this car is really weird, because it's a normal car, but there's a video game on top, and apparently the player is playing. So I'm coming back here to the back, because I want to understand what's going on there. And my friend got here too, and I'm going to hit his car so he explains to me what's going on. And he actually left, but now he's aiming that item. And that's bad, because this player seems really crazy. He said, get out of here, or it'll be your end. But I have to get out of here fast. And I really have to get out of here. And he's getting closer, and he's still holding that item. He said, I want you to leave the game. Look, unfortunately, I can't do that. Now he got even closer, and he's aiming that item again, and trying to hit me. But I just remembered that I'm immortal, and it's impossible to eliminate me in Brookhaven. So even if he holds that item and tries to hit me, he won't be able to. And actually, I'm going to crash into his car. Perfect! I flipped my car, but he's right behind me. And he said, now it's your end. So I want to test ways to add textures to cars. But first I have to make this player stop chasing me. So up here, I'm going to set the max speed, and I'm going to teach him a lesson so he stops following me. And now I'm getting up front, and I'm just going to fly away. But that didn't scare him. He said, I'm not afraid of anything. And I don't know how he's not afraid of anything. But anyway, I just flipped my car, and now he's aiming that item, and I think this might be my end. But there's a player coming down here, and I don't know what he's doing. But he's seeing what's going on. And now he banned that player. And literally the Joker just got banned. And now he disappeared from here. And I was saved by the blue player. He said, you better make the best car of all. So I'm really going to do that. And guys, now I'm going to test ways to add textures to my car, because the cars look really ugly like this. But there are 3 ways to do it. This player even got closer, and I don't know what he's doing. He said, why are there 3 different ways to do it? Look, it's because some ways are better. So I'm going to start with a simpler way to add textures, and then I'm going to test ways that will change the texture on my car. But now, he went back to his house, and he really saved me. And this player is a good guy, but the bad player is looking at me, and I want to see his reaction as soon as I get textures on my car. He said, hurry up, I want to test the way to get textures. Okay, so I'm going to test it now. But now I'm going down here, because I'm going to have to flip my car, and I'm going to leave it just like this. And it actually worked, but my friend left, and he said, wait, wouldn't it be better to pick a nicer car? Look, what he said is true. So on the right, I'm going to pick a nicer car, but I want a car with a giant roof that's long, and that also looks cool if I add textures. And I chose this van. But my friend came here, and he said, but this van is ugly. Look, I know it's a little ugly, but the result is going to be pretty interesting. And now I need to get up here in front to do some very specific things. So I'm getting to this ramp, and this way I'll be able to flip my car. Perfect, I'm sure I did it, but my car isn't flipping, and it's impossible to flip this van. So I'm coming back here again, and now it flipped, but not the way I wanted. So I'll have to go back to normal again. Perfect, I did it. So I'm going to grab this item on the right, and now I'll grab this other item and place it right here. And it's actually turning out pretty cool. It's really a very different texture. But my friend is looking here, and he said, this is really ugly. Look, I know it's still ugly, but today, I'm going to test several ways to add textures to cars, and I'm going to try the easiest ways and also the hardest ones. And this is the easiest way of all. So I'm choosing another item on the right to see if it looks better. But guys, this van is looking really ugly, and I have to figure out a way to improve this, so it looks really nice. And now it's getting pretty interesting, and it's starting to look really cool. And now I have to go back to the van and place another one of these items, but on the other side. So now I'm arriving here, and I'm going to try to flip my Roblox car. Perfect! I placed this texture here, and now I'm going to drive my car. And my car turned out really interesting. It has this texture here, but this is the easiest way to get it, because there are other ways that are way better. He said, make the van yellow, maybe it'll look better. So up here, I'm going to change the color of the van to yellow, and I'm going to make it match the sign. And this is actually pretty interesting, and it really looks like my car has textures in Roblox. But the texture is really ugly. And now, I want to see the player's reaction, to see what he thinks about this. So I just got here, and he showed up to see what's going on. But now he's laughing at my car. And that's bad, because he's laughing at my car. And he said, this is the ugliest car I've ever seen. And that was supposed to be a texture? Yes, it really was supposed to be a texture. And he's laughing at my car. But guys, I'm going to test the other ways to get textures on cars. So I'm coming up here to the front. And my friend said, this is the ugliest car of all. But I disagree with what he said, because he has a car that's way worse than mine. And And for some reason he put a lot of lights on his car, thinking it would look nice, but that made his car the ugliest of all, and honestly that's impressive, because he managed to make a really ugly car. But now, I'm going to pick a very specific car on the right, which is this blue car. And this car, for those who don't know, basically already has textures. And now my friend is coming here to see it. He said, wow, it's actually pretty. But guys, this is the second way to get textures, and it's definitely the easiest way of all. But the third way to get textures on cars is really good, and I'm going to test it in a bit. But now I'm coming here to see the player's reaction, and I want to know what he thinks of my car. So I just got to this part, and he's looking at my car. He even said, now you got textures, but it's still ugly. And guys, that doesn't make any sense, because his car is the ugliest of all, since it has a video game on top. And that really doesn't make sense. But he got closer, and he said, don't talk bad about my car. Okay, I won't talk bad about your car, but he's aiming that item, and he got really mad, and he wants me to never say that again. So I'm going to stay quiet and leave here, because I'm going to test a way to improve this car. He said, when are you going to test the other way to get textures? Look, in a bit, but first I have to flip this car, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that, and I have to leave this car flipped on its side, but it's impossible to do that. So I'm trying it again, and I didn't make it. Perfect. Now I did it, and it finally worked, but my car is almost falling, and for some reason my car is shaking, and that's not good. And now that my friend left, my car just stopped shaking. But here on the right, I'm going to grab this item and place it all over my car. Perfect. It looks like this now. And now I'm going to drive my car. And now my car has this light underneath it, which is a pretty interesting light, but I want to see the player's reaction as soon as he sees this. So I'm arriving here, but I flipped my car, and I don't know if that was a good thing, but he's coming over to see it, and I want to hear what he's going to say. He said, this car is so ugly that I'm going to leave the game. And what he said is really weird, and he actually left the game just because my car is ugly. And my friend said, the good part is that you got a new house. And that's true. I just got a new plot of land just for me, but for some reason this gate is opening. So I'm coming here to see what's inside. And apparently there's a pretty interesting car in here, and it's basically a taxi, but this taxi has a spoiler, and for some reason it has a really powerful engine. But guys, the player just came out from back there, and apparently he was hiding this whole time. He said, your car is horrible. I was going to ban you, but it's better if I don't even ban you. And that's weird. But now he just closed the gate, and everyone on the server thinks my car is ugly, but my car isn't that ugly. Actually, it's even kind of nice. But the other player is looking at it, and he has a pretty cool car, and his car is a really nice car. But he grabbed this item, and apparently he's going to give a score to my car. And he's writing this score, and it was a 0. And now everyone thinks my car is the ugliest car of all. But now I'm going to test several ways to add textures to cars. And this way is really the best one of all, because I'm going to be able to modify all the cars in Brookhaven, since we have all the cars in the game here. Literally all the cars. So I'm going to test a way to add textures to all of them. But for that, I'm going to have to use Roblox Studio, and I'm going to choose one of these cars to do it, because there are a lot of interesting cars here. But the first car I want to do this with is exactly this one, because for those who don't know, in Brookhaven, if I get this house on the right and then press this button, this car has a secret version, and it has a texture that the original car doesn't have. And there's actually another car in Brookhaven that has textures, but unfortunately it only shows up in this house. So I want to make that official. But for that, I'm going to select this car, and I'm also going to select this other car. And now I brought them here to make the modifications. Perfect! I just did it, and it really worked. This car turned out really interesting, and you can see that it looks really nice. And it has this texture here. But my friend is looking at me, and he said, but there are bugs on the car. Look, what he said is true. There are several bugs on the car, because this car is like that, and it's really well made. And the texture even goes on the spoiler, and also on the front of the car. And on this other car, some bugs happen, but I'm going to try to fix them. Perfect! I'm modifying the car, and I just added the texture to the spoiler. I placed it right here, but apparently like this, it turned out really ugly. So I removed it and left it only on the front. But that also looked bad. So I removed it from the front too, because this car doesn't have texture in the front. And now I'm going to do this with more cars. So I'll have to choose other cars to do it. And I'm going to pick this Lamborghini and also this Ferrari. And this turned out really good. There are actually several textures here. And the Lamborghini turned out like this, while the Ferrari turned out like that. And it actually looks pretty interesting, but there are a lot of bugs. And this car ended up like this. And this is the original car. But this car has some parts that can be removed. So I'm going to remove this texture, and this car looks horrible. So I put the texture back, and I tried to remove the spoiler, but it's impossible. And on this other car, I can remove the spoiler, and you can see that it looks really different. And my friend said, add another texture. And apparently he wants me to put a different texture, because that texture on the car is a really old one. So I'm going to test that. But first, I'm going to remove these textures from here. And now I picked this car, because I'm going to copy the texture from it and place it on these two cars. So I placed it here, but it looked really ugly. And after a long time, I finally managed to do it, but it really took me forever. He said, "It looks good. Look, I don't know if it looks that good, but it's better than before." And I did it on just one car, and you can see that it turned out really interesting. It has a galaxy texture, and everything looks perfect. But I want to add this to this other car, and also this other car, because I want to see how they look. But my friend is staring at me, and once again he has something to say. He said, "Leave the car on the streets. It's easier to see how they look." Okay, I get what he meant. He wants me to place the cars here, just in the city, because everything here is in the middle of nowhere. So I'm going to copy all these cars and take them into the city. And I'm going to delete this car. And I'll leave this car right here. And this other car I'll place in this area. But now, I'm going to do the same modifications with the Lamborghini. And it turned out like this. It actually looks pretty interesting. But the best part is that I can do this with Brookhaven buildings. And I can just select a house and turn it into a galaxy house. So I'm going to do that with this house. Perfect. It turned out like this. But the result wasn't very interesting. And actually, it turned out really ugly. Nothing here looked good. So I'm going to choose this other house to see if it looks better. Perfect. It turned out like this. But this looks horrible. Some things turned out really cool. This window looks really nice. And this carpet looks really cool. But some parts of the building didn't look good. So, textures only look good if I use them on a car. But he's looking here. And he said, "Don't add textures to houses anymore." And I realized that. And I shouldn't do it. But now, I want to test other textures on cars. Because I've only tested a few. So I just grabbed this car, which is really interesting. And I put this texture on my car. But it looked really bad. So I removed it. And now I left my car like this. And it actually turned out really cool and really nice. And if Brookhaven had textures like this, it would definitely be awesome. And you can see it looks really nice. And the best part is that everything is normal. The car doesn't look bugged. And it looks well made. And he even fell to the ground from how impressed he was. Now I'm trying to drive it, but it's impossible. And this Lamborghini turned out like this. And this other car turned out like that. But I want to make an even better texture for my Roblox cars. And now I have to choose a car to do that. But the only problem is that there are too many cars. And I don't know which one to pick. But I'm going to choose this car because it's really interesting. So I'm going to leave it right here, and I'll have to make some modifications to it. And now it's turned into a normal car, but I left it just like this. And you can see that half of it is blue, and it actually looks really beautiful, and it should be added to Brookhaven. And these textures should also be in the game. He said, but you just have to ask the admin to add it. Yes, it really is just doing that, but it's very hard to do, and it's hard to get in touch with them. But now, I just grabbed this other car, because I want to see how it looks if I add textures. So I removed the spoiler, and without the spoiler it looks like this. And with the spoiler, it looks like this. And the spoiler is actually really important. And now it turned out like this. And it looks really good. You can see that it looks like this. And the Ferrari ended up looking like this, with a galaxy texture. This car looks like this. And these three cars turned out like this. And this one is the best of all, because it looks really beautiful. And guys, if you want to add me on Roblox, just click the Become a Member button, and I'll add you on Roblox.